I might just stop this and I might just...
Hello, my name is Ragnar Sinikas, and I'm the founder of Starpreneur TV, How to Dominate Your Decade talk show, World Women Conference and Awards, creator of Coral Desk, Changemakers coach, public speaker, and co-author of the Dominate the Decade book. Thank you for joining us today. And today I have the honor to talk with Scott Anthony, and he's from Australia. He's the founder and the creator of the No Excuse Life. He is multi-award winner both nationally and internationally as a designer, jeweler, business builder, and encourager. Has interviewed movie stars, personalities, entrepreneurs from all over the world, was awarded an award, The Most Giving by Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi. He is a 2-time best-selling author and creator of the No Excuse Life. This is pretty impressive, Scott. And I skipped a lot of things from there because you have so much passion and fire inside you. So I want the people to see it themselves. So tell us your story and why are you doing what you're doing?
Wow, it's funny when someone else reads things about you, I kind of look over my shoulder and I go, who are they talking about? That's not really me, is it? I think we all go through this process of imposter syndrome and my story is nothing special. And if we're watching other people, we say, oh, it's okay for them. They've got this background or this story or this struggle or this tenacity that we often don't have. And you'll have to forgive me. I get a bit carried away. I talk a bit fast and maybe we should put subtitles in. But I guess my story, boring, nothing really special. And when I say that, I've had other people correct me. So people watching this, I want you to realize that your story is special. And it took me a long time to realize my story is just my story. Therefore, it makes it special because even though other people have done a lot more, have accomplished incredible things and survived amazing and just horrendous circumstances, we can't copy their life. We can't copy their story. We just have our story. So I guess that makes our story special. So when I say my story is nothing special, it's because there are so many amazing people out there, including the people watching this right now. So my story, 15-year-old kid, youngest of 4. My teacher stood me up in school and he basically said, you're an imbecile. You will never amount to anything. So get ready for an average life. And I'm like, oh. And then he proceeded to kick me out of his class and I would never set foot in his art class ever again. Shortly afterwards, the school kicked me out because they saw no benefit in having me in their college. So, okay. So I, went through the same process as lots of people, found myself work in a whole range of different places, a carpenter or whatever. And then I became a designer jeweler or a jeweler. And then I was invited to a competition and I said, I don't want to do it. And my boss said, well, you need to do it. And I said, okay, as long as I can design it. So I designed it. I did my thing my way, won the best piece in Australia for design and craftsmanship. And I'm on this stage, right? They called your name up to give you the award. And all of a sudden, there's this huge screen and there's a picture of a model wearing the diamond neck piece that I'd made. And I'm like, wow, that's really big. Wow, that's my piece. What am I supposed to say? So I got up on the stage and I had to thank people. And what I realized is I didn't have anyone to thank. And this is why our stories are different, right? Because we don't know what's going to go on in our life. And I'm on the stage and I'm saying, well, I'd like to thank the jewelry industry for putting this award on. I'd like to thank my boss for hiring me, the jeweler for teaching me. But I really want to thank me. And I remember standing there and it sounds arrogant, but it's not. I want people to understand this. Your life is the sum total of everything that you have done. And how your life is going to unfold is going to be the sum total of everything that you do next. Like the fact that you're watching this now, you're going to learn something. Now, whether you like me or don't like me, as Dr. Phil said when I interviewed him, he said, you'll never mistake me for anybody else. So many times we're trying to get people to like us, agree with us, or feel sorry for us. And it's like, I don't. I like to inspire people. I don't want to share my story because there's all sorts of ugly bits in my story. But I don't want to share that because people have got their own ugly story. And all I want to share with them is when I was like a 19-year-old kid standing on this stage in front of the cream of the crop of the jewelry industry from Australia. And I'm wearing this suit, and it was a fancy suit that I had custom made because I wanted to feel different. And my wife has since told me I look like Michael Jackson when I was up there because of the sparkles on the suit and everything else. I still love that suit. But what's interesting was I stood there and I said, I want to thank me. And that was my first coming out to the world where I actually had an audience. Because I'd been in the martial arts arena, I'd been in the ring, I've fought, and every time I looked out, there was no family or friends supporting me. So I've always done everything on my own. So here I was, 19-year-old kid, wet as a blanket, never done public speaking before, looked at all these men and women in their suits and $1 million diamond rings now. So I want to thank me. I want to thank me for showing up and for having the courage to believing in myself and to make this piece and to make it so good, you guys recognize it as being the best in the country. Now, I felt a bit cocky. I felt a bit arrogant, but I remember getting off of stage and I remember saying to myself, yeah, that is you. Yes, they did teach you, but you learnt it. Yes, they did give you the opportunity to be in that job environment, but I had to apply for it. And after I got it, I had to keep it. And so in the end, I became the head jeweler. I was there for about 11 years. And then I went on to create my own business. And that still runs today. And so that's been really successful. We've won heaps of awards. And again, I'm not banging my drum saying this is how famous I am, because I'm not famous. But every jeweler I've trained has won the best jeweler in their category. So if we just focus on ourselves, what can I do for me? What's my story? Who wants to feel sorry for me? It's like, that's really selfish. But we need to take stock of who we are, what our struggles are, and what our values are, and then how we can basically share that with other people so we inspire other people to believe in themselves so they move to the next stage as well. So I'm married, kids, dogs, love life. I had an accident a couple of years ago. They gave me a 2% chance of ever walking properly again. And after 9 months in my bed on my back, I said, screw this. I'm not interested in these experts' diagnosis of what I can do and can't do. So again, started doing things my way. And now I coach people around the world saying, I don't care what your excuse is, because when you give me your excuse, I'm going to give you 3 solutions. So our excuse is only a stepping stone. It's a signpost. It says, here's my reason. This is why I justify why I can't do something. And I'm going to hang on to that like it's the last floating post before I drown. It's like, it's not. The minute we let go of that excuse and say, I know I've got it, I'm not going to deny it, I'm not going to depend or pretend it doesn't hurt me and hasn't held me back from other things, but I'm actually going to put that excuse down now because I know there are other answers. So a no excuse life is about little things like my wife, the world's most amazing woman because she married me. Like, I've got to fall in love with that idea, right? But what actually happened was I had to propose to my wife 4 times. Now, most people propose once and get a no, and go, oh, that didn't work, and they give up. No, not me. So it's the tenacity, the persistency, and the determination to say, this is who I want, this is who I want to be, this is what I want to create, and these are the people I want to help. When we do that, we achieve everything we want to achieve. And it's not that it's not possible. It's only that we haven't decided to step up to the plate and make it happen. So a little part of that was about me.
This is an incredible story, and as you said, it's always about how what attitude we have and how we believe in ourselves and what we think that is possible. And I understand that this is you, that you are well known by the clause that everything is possible, nothing is impossible. So tell us a little more about your 2 books or the books that you have written. So what are they about? Why did you choose to write on those topics?
I've actually got 6, but I don't really talk about them because some of them are about diamond rings, don't let this happen to you, how to have the best diamond ring in the room, all sorts of things like that. But the first book I wrote was a compilation of quotes of famous people throughout history. and their quotes, their one-liners. And I put these all together because it's like these were the quotes, these were the people who inspired me, and these were their messages that I used to fall back on and go, well, this is how they thought. How can I take that one sentence and start to think how I can use that one sentence? It's like if it is to be, it's up to me. We've all heard that, we've all said that, but let's just think about that for a moment. So I just put them all together, made it downloadable, made it available so you can have it on your phone. So when you're frustrated and things aren't going well, we'll pick up your phone, hit that app or whatever it is, open up that book and read the quote. Because you've got no excuse now about, I didn't feel good, I wasn't in the mood, I didn't have the right weather, or I didn't think I could do it. Who cares? Those are all excuses. Don't take my word for it. All these people through history have also had excuses. These are the words that they used to remotivate them. So that one I did just because I thought, if I can put people's ideas and their motivation out, that would be a good thing. One recently was called, Breaking Through. How to make it happen rather than making excuses. Always excuses in my titles, because it's true. We can justify why we haven't done things. We can justify why we're overweight. We can justify why we don't have the jobs we have that we want. We can justify why we don't live in the house that we want to live in. We can justify why we didn't achieve all the things that we know we could have, but the circumstances stopped it. So that book's all about how to make it happen rather than making excuses. Like, we can make excuses, or we can find a solution. So it's all about that. And the first page, the first chapter, it talks about Nick, who's a guy born with no arms and no legs. And he's got the most beautiful wife. He's got 4 kids. He's a multimillionaire. He's a very faith-based preacher, speaker, and businessman. And it's like that chapter finishes and it simply says, so if you've got arms and legs, you've already got an advantage over Nick. And it's true. So again, it's just that perspective. And I'm just finishing, I think tomorrow we're going to release it online, a book called The Excuse Manifesto. There's 9 excuses you can use so you don't have to be successful.
That's an interesting idea. So you are using the reverse methodology to actually get to people. That's very interesting. So, but I know that most of the people actually have the excuses, and if you really dig deep, then you understand that it's more of a fear than an excuse. So how do you see how would you like divide? Are they those separate topics? Are one dependent on another? Or how do you see that dynamic?
How do I see it, or how do I deal with it?
Well, if you can give us how do you deal with it, that would be something which is very practical as well. So.
There's a word that covers both, and that word is responsibility. If we've got kids, and I'm big on kids and family, so, and even for the people that haven't got kids, well, guess what? One day you were a kid, and now you're still a kid. You're just in a bigger body. So what we've been shaped by and influenced by are other people's writing of our chapters, the first chapters of our life, our childhood. We couldn't control where we were born, what color we were, what we ate, what we said, who surrounded us, and filled our minds with what was possible and what wasn't possible. But most people watching this, if you're above 10, you'll understand this next sentence. Whatever you want, you can learn how to do, how to get, how to share, or how to give, or how to become. And if you go through the processes of learning, the information's out there. So there really is no excuse. What happened to us 5 years ago, 10 years ago? Okay, it happened. If we just hang on to that, it won't change. We can reframe how we look back upon it and say, oh, he did this and he did that, and blame them forever. But hurt people are the people that hurt people. And if we realize that most people that do things to us or against us are just dealing with their own issues, and we don't need to always take it personally, even though they did it to us or they subjected it to us to it. So what is an excuse is really just a justification of being willing to stay left behind when we deep down know we should be learning and growing to become the next version of ourselves. Not changing who we were, but just saying this is who we were. Even at 51 now, I go, I can do this better. If I do 1% better today at being a dad or being a husband or being on an interview, then I'm going to be better at that 1% more. And if all I aim to be is 1% better, at the end of the year, I'm 365% better because I've done 1% every day.
This is very methodical approach to it. So, if I see your biography, that caught me the eye the most, and I have had the honor to speak with you before. So I can also say that I know you a little better than maybe some people that will be listening. So tell us about the kids that you are mentoring, and why are you doing it, and when did it start?
Just got goosebumps as you said that. Okay. These kids are kids in sporting teams that I've coached, but also kids who I think, Willem, you're talking about, who come from underprivileged backgrounds. There's a judge, a lawyer, who reached out and said, look, we've got these kids who are going through this program. They come from dysfunctional homes, foster care, state institutions, and we're trying to keep them in school. And so we set up a program for teaching them how to ice hockey. So they had to play ice hockey in Australia. And it's good about building team camaraderie and stuff like that. And so what would happen is they would learn, but the deal was they had to stay in school, a bit like they do with American basketball and other things. So they called me in because some of these kids, they thought, maybe you could reach out to help them with job prospects and, to help them just get some kind of positive future. And so, okay, so we did it for 7 weeks at a time. It's like, I think there was 7 different groups from 7 different schools. And I simply said to them, I said, this is a blank book. Now, the first couple of chapters, other people have written your story. Now, some kids have been sexually abused, some have been swapped and sold for drugs. Like, some of the stories are just horrendous. And I'm like, wow, how lucky am I? I've gone through some stuff, but I didn't go through what they're going through. And it's like, how can I help them? So at the end of the day, what happened was I would walk these kids through, self-confidence, self-belief, because all they wanted to do was have someone believe in them. Didn't matter who it was, didn't matter for what reason. But when someone looks them in the eye and says, hey, I can see you, I want to hear from you, like you do matter, you see these people's self-confidence grow, and you see these kids grow into young adults. And it was funny because there were three who they were predicting would be going to prison. They just couldn't reach them, couldn't connect with them, and they just couldn't get anyone to be able to build that bridge. And I'm very unconventional. I'm not paid by anyone to do that kind of thing. So I just go in there and break all the rules, because rules are what keep us in cages. And so what actually happened was some of these kids have joined police force, Navy, one's working for a government department helping other kids going through state care. And the biggest reward is seeing these kids see that they matter, and that at the end of it, I give them a book, and I said, this is a blank book. Here's my phone number, here's my email, and we now get to watch what you write in these next chapters of your life. It's unwritten. You are now the author. You are now the architect, and you can contact me if you need help. But when we take the focus off ourselves and we see what we can do for other people, it's like, man, I feel good, because we're making a difference. And I could talk under wet concrete for a month about this. So it doesn't matter what you've been through. It doesn't matter what you're going through. It doesn't matter what you think you can never do. All of it can be changed. And the first way of changing it is turn off the TV news, because the media don't want you to succeed. They want to keep you at home watching TV, watching their commercials, keeping you in fear. Whereas if you believe there are people out there who want you to succeed, you can do anything. Like, you can seriously do anything. And when you understand it's possible, and when you move past the excuse of it'll work for other people but not for me, and you make that shift, or at least make that decision to make the shift, and then go about the processes to understand how you can make that shift, everything changes. Like, your entire life can change. So Oh, I love it.
Well, this show has been all about changing lives, and today we are talking about so directly about it as you can be. I think more direct we can't be. We talked about you mentoring people. Who's your mentor? Who has impacted your life in a way that you can say that, oh, he or she literally changed my life?
Wow, that's a deep question. I want to answer this carefully, because whatever answer I give, people watching this will then go, oh, well, it's okay for you. I could never get access to that person. Or it's okay for you. I can't afford to get to that kind of person. Or it's okay for you. I'm stuck at home. I haven't got a way of accessing those kinds of people. So without going into specifics, because there's lots of specifics, the number one person who influenced me is me. because at the well, but it is like, it is. My failures are my fault. My successes are my fault. My learning or my failing to learn is my fault. Now, I've paid 6 figures for coaches, and people go, oh, I can't afford that, so they switch off. So my best people that I've ever learned from are the people who I don't want to be like.
This answer I did not expect, I have to be honest. Usually I can predict more or less the answers, but this, you got me there. So this is interesting.
But on that, and look, on that there are a lot of people who do things and say things that I don't agree with. And I look at how that makes me feel, and it's like, I don't want to create that impression, that feeling in other people. And I know I have. I've been terrible in lots of things. And it's like, as I get older, it's like, how can I do that better? So it's not about me just getting my opinion across, but how can I make that person feel that they can do better? Or how can they feel like there's a different solution? A friend of mine said to me a couple of years ago, he says, you're like a shotgun. You're all over the place. He says, when you become a sniper, you'll be unstoppable. And we were talking about something, and I was so rock solid on my opinion. And Des, beautiful guy from Ireland, and he said, life's like a dice. You get a dice and you put it on the table. And no matter where you sit, you cannot see all 4 sides of that dice. Other people will see a different perspective from you. So just remember, at any point, any perspective you see, and you think you are right, just know there are 5 other sides, 5 other people can see, and 5 other perspectives. So the message there is, never forget about the dice, because there are 6 sides. And when we understand there are 6 sides, we can't possibly know all of them, but if we're open to, we can. And when we understand we can learn those perspectives, everything changes. So my 6-figure coaches, I got all sorts of coaches, okay? Most people say, I don't need a coach. Well, that's probably why your life or your business sucks. And then people go, oh, that's really arrogant. No, it's not. It's just the truth. If you look at any sporting team that wins the grand final, I don't know, do they have coaches? If you watch the Olympics, summer or winter Olympics from any country in the world, anyone that gets on the podium, do they stand there and bow their head and have the medal put around their neck? And do they sit there and say, yeah, I did it myself? Like, they don't. They're proud of their country because they're supporting their country. Their country enabled them to get to this position. They had to do the work, but they're part of a country, so they are connected. So the country coaches them in their surroundings and our upbringings, both negative and positive. And then afterwards, you'll often see these people get interviewed off podium, and they'll say, what made the difference? Or how do you feel? Or this, that, and the other. And 9 times out of 10, they will talk about their coach. Sometimes their coach will give them that 1%, that 1%, that 1% that they think they don't need. But it's all the practicing they do and the investment in coaches and the people they learn from behind the scenes at 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning for 4 or 5 years that enables them to get on that podium and win a race that lasts 9 seconds. And it's like, really? Really? And And here's the truth. They're not even the best in the world. So when you're comparing yourself to these kinds of people, they're not the best in the world. They're the best who showed up on the day, who performed at their best or at the best level at that moment in time. They don't win by 100 meters. They win by like 100th of a second. And it's like if they were to repeat that race 3 times, there's a very good chance they'd have 3 different winners. So life's not about comparisons. Life's about showing up, being your best, learning and absorbing from people like my coach, JT Fox. I've got Mal Emery. I've got Dr. Michael Donaldson. I've got lots of coaches, and people go, oh, well, that's the difference. I can't have all these coaches. And I'm like, rubbish. Remember, I was that skinny kid kicked out of school at 15 who didn't have any hope, didn't have any future. And the best advice, my parents gave me advice, but that was in a very dysfunctional relationship as well. And I interviewed Dean Graziosi. He makes like $100 million a year. He's just crazy, really successful guy. And I said to him, because we were talking about advice that our parents gave us. And I said, well, the advice my parents gave me was, if you're lucky, you'll have 2 jobs and one day you might be able to pay off your own house. And I'm like, because he started laughing. And I'm like, it does sound funny, doesn't it? If you're lucky, you'll get 2 jobs. And that was the limit of what they thought was possible. So everyone around me would tell me what I couldn't do, what I wasn't good at, what I sucked at, and what I was hopeless at. And I used to take that on board. And then one day I thought, no, I don't want to live that way. I don't want to have that belief. I want to learn. So my wife coaches me because I learned to listen. My 3 daughters, they coach me because they teach me their 3 opinions. My son coaches me because he shares with me his opinion. And what I've learned is, you can see I like to talk. I've got so much information that I've learned from people. I want to share it with everyone. And this is the thing that I've learned. People want to be heard. Just like I want you to hear me so I can share this wisdom that I've learned through the privilege of other people sharing it with me. I now want to share it with you, saying, doesn't matter who you are, doesn't matter how fat you are, how old you are, how ugly you are, how thin you are, how many legs you have or haven't got, where you were born, what happened to you when you were 9 or 39. None of that matters. The only thing that happens now, who are you going to allow to coach you? Is it the media? Is it your partner? And if your partner's negative and you're the positive one, or perhaps you're both negative or you're both positive, learn from every single person. You can get good coaches, you can pay for them. You can get bad coaches, you can pay for them. But if you don't get coached, that's your fault. That's on your responsibility. So I go into every single conversation saying, how can I add value, which is what I'm trying to do now? And then I think, how could I have done it better? And I think, how can I serve? How can I serve and give you value from what all these people, God, the universe, my family, how can I give you what I've learned from others? Because I have one goal in life, and that is to help you believe how incredible you can be in not your life, but in other people's lives. And when you give, not your house and your cars and your money away, because then you've got nothing and it doesn't work. But if you give from the heart, give from the soul, give from the integrity that you want to be a 10, and everything you do is to serve and help other people, you will get paid more than you can imagine. And when you are having a down day, a frustrated day, when you reach out to someone and say, how are you going? How can I help you today? All of a sudden the shift changes from you, moves to them. You'll find out that they just want someone to listen to, and you can agree, yeah, life sucks. It's not good this, it's not good that. Or you can just say, yeah, but how would you feel if we were to change that? How would it feel if there was a way through this? You start to open up other people's minds. And when you're giving from yourself things that you've learned and share and ask questions of other people, they get to express themselves back. You change 2 people's lives. Or you can stay home and suck your thumb and tell everyone how unfair life is. But that's a choice. So anyone that doesn't succeed, it's because you're lazy. And the reason why I say you're lazy is because I use tough love approach in my coaching, and I say you can accept the excuse and you can hang on to it forever, or you can take and that's being lazy, or you can take the initiative and saying, this is my responsibility. I am going to learn how to get through this. Because I promise you, no matter what problem you've got, there is always people who want to help.
Beautiful. And we do always, the only remark which I would make is exactly this, that you need to understand from where you ask for advice, or who is really your mentor, because there's a point of credibility as well, and we can't dismiss it, because if you do go and ask for the advice from maybe from your neighbor regarding your finances, and he doesn't have the experience, then obviously that's not going to work. But
exactly.
But that's the dynamics, yes. And I think the best mentors we have, most of us at our home. So we need to make the decision to take a book in the evening and have the meeting with that incredible person, whether it's I don't know, Beethoven, or whether it's a incredible writer. So, and a lot of people haven't done it. I think currently, under those circumstances, that would be something that would be a very useful time well spent. Give us your 3 recommendations how to dominate the decade.
That's a good question. That's a very good question. 3 points. Get up is number 1. Stand up is number 2. And people go, isn't get up and stand up? No. Some people just get up and they're like, pretty lethargic. Yeah, I'm like, what? I've said stand up. The minute you have presence from within, you can stand up and be a slob. You can stand up and wear your convenient, comfortable clothes at home. You don't have to shave because you're not going into the office today. Get up, which means get out of bed. Get out of this negative mindset. Get off the sofa. Get up and then stand up. Present yourself to the world. If you want people to take you seriously, stand up. You don't get paid before you do the work. So start doing the work first. And everything you want on the outside, it's all in here. What you tell yourself and the way you perhaps present yourself and how you act creates the mood that you're in. Oh, it's not good. It's not right. Look around your house. Your house is probably a mess. Your bedroom's probably a mess. Your car's probably a mess. Your life's a mess because your attitude's a mess. So get up for starters. Take the step of saying, holy crap, it is up to me. And then stand up and be proud of who you are, not based on what you've done, but the respect you're now going to give yourself moving forward. And the third thing, show up. Because you can come up with excuses, but showing up means, I'm going to do this. Yes, I'm standing up. I feel good. But now what? Iron your shirt, have a shave your legs, brush your hair, put your lipstick on, do whatever. Show up as if you were going to meet the person who was going to change your life today. And by showing up, it means every single day you haven't had to go out and buy a whole new wardrobe, but you are showing up. You go to do a call like this. You go to do a 5-minute journaling process. Show up. You're going to work. The most important work you'll ever do is on yourself. So if you're having a daggy day and you're not dressed very well and you're going to try to sit down and do your journaling, that's lazy because you're not dressing to set yourself up to have the success you want. So I could have worn just a t-shirt today because I don't even know what day it is because I work from home most of the times now. I think it's a Friday. So I don't need to put a shirt and a jacket on. But the minute I do, I am showing up. I am standing up. And that changes how everything else portrays. So the only reason why people don't get the breakthroughs they want, the reasons why they don't dominate their decade of their life, because it's your life. Like if you're watching this and you think, I don't need to do that, well, I don't care. If you do it, you will feel better. You will get better results. So the next 10 years are going to unveil and reveal the biggest liars and the biggest frauds you've ever seen in your life. And you're going to see them every single day because they are those people who look you in the eye in the mirror. And so the question I ask you is today, did I get up? Did I stand up? And did I show up? Because if you've had, and this is a bit tough, but bad luck, you've all been kids before. So you know what it's like to be a kid. You know what you got, you know what you didn't get, you know what you want, and you know what you didn't want. You can't change that, but you now get to change what other people's kids, who are kids in bigger bodies called adults. And if you've got kids, what kind of memories you're creating for them. So if you look in the mirror in the morning, it's up to you to say, am I standing up? Am I showing up? And at night, when you're brushing your teeth, looking in the mirror, look yourself in the eye and say, did I get up? Did I stand up? And did I show up? And if you have, you can put your head on the pillow and say, I kicked ass. This may not have been my best day, but it got my best effort. And when you do that, you will dominate the decade because it's your life. It's not someone else's responsibility to come in and fix it. It's yours. So the next 10 years, 5 years, 10 days, 10 weeks, the success you will get will be based on what you have done and how you have shown up. Results don't lie, but people do. And when you keep trying to justify why you haven't done things, why it didn't work for you, it won't bother me because I'll be doing my thing, trying to help other people. And you've got to have that conversation with yourself. So if you want to dominate your decade, the decade is going to come along anyway. It's just up to you to decide what effort and what commitment you're going to make. So if you want to win, all you got to do is decide, then follow through. Get up, stand up, show up.
Beautiful advice. And if you didn't have your pen and your notebook with you, then you need to go back to this video. Go step by step, play, stop, and think what is working in your life and what is not working. And this is the action where you need to take where it's not making sense, or it's stuck, or procrastination is just holding you back. I have enjoyed our interview. You can't imagine. I will do the same. The play and stop, play and stop, play and stop for sure today, because as always, we learn from each other and we become our conversations. So I learned last time I spoke with you, and I learned this time. So I'm really happy that you took the time to talk with me, and obviously adding so much value to our community. If someone wants to contact you or wants to, you're also offering coaching, no? So if someone wants to reach out to you, what would be the best channel to do so?
There's a range of different ways. Probably the easiest way is to go to noexcuselife.com. If you do that, you'll find me on there. You can actually book your own free 15-minute call where you can organize a call and you'll talk on the phone with me. And you can spend 15 minutes telling me all of your excuses. And then at the end of it, I'll say, yeah, you're right. Those are all the reasons why you can't be successful, why you can't find the person you want to fall in love with, or why you can't have the business or the relationship or be the person you want to be. Or you could tell me what it is that you'd love to get beyond, and I can teach you how to do that. I can walk you through some simple processes, and I can tell you that it's possible. So go to noexcuselife.com, and you can set that call up. Now, you can find me on Facebook. You can send me an email to scott@scottanthony.com. Basically, if you want to find me, you'll find me. If you don't find me because you couldn't find me, we all know whose fault that is. So what you'll find is, and you spoke and I loved it, the power of the pen. That's an exercise I take people through. What were you happy with today and what were you unhappy with today? And if you do that at night, your focus will go to the one that has the most amount of things on it. And all that does is it shows you what's wrong with the scales of how you're living. If you're writing the list of what went well today, what you're grateful for today, and you've got the other side that says the things you're not grateful for, the things that you didn't want to go through, whichever one has the most detail in there, you'll see that that's where your scales are slightly balanced. And you want to focus on all the good things. Acknowledge the bad, but don't let the bad dominate. And that will help shift. And the power of the pen, this pen, everyone can use. Everyone can get a notepad, and that's why we've both got notepads here. It's purely and simply because we can rewrite the way we look back at our past, but we can write the next chapters of our lives and make it all possible. So I learned from you. I don't underestimate how much I've learned from you, Ragne. And what I love about this is how you're giving your heart, your soul to so many people and saying, this is what's out there. Like we like just a signpost. We're saying, I learned this. You can dominate your decade. You can do this. You can do that. Go here. Look at this person I've interviewed. Look at that person. This is just beautiful. You giving your heart and soul and putting amazing people together and sharing. This just proves that no matter anyone, what their circumstances are, how they think, how they feel, and what they don't think they can do, they actually can do. And they're like amazing people like you out there who are saying, hey, I met this dude or this lady, and this is what they did. You should watch this interview and learn from them, or read this quote, or read this book, or watch this interview. It's like, here you are, giving. So if anyone's watching this and thinks, oh, but I can't do it for all these reasons, stop that. There is a whole different world out there that the media haven't told you about. And the world is of those in the entrepreneurial space who want you to succeed. Not the ones that want to take your money because they just want to make money out of you, but the ones that want to help you succeed because you can succeed. You are in the word succeed. You are in the word success. Now here's the difference. If you break down that word success or succeed, it sucks in the beginning. Life sucks. And if you want to exceed the expectations of what other people have given you, expect to, and then excel. And if you put those words together, suck goes to success, or suck goes to succeed. Like, it's just an option. And if life's sucky so far, it's because you just haven't done the other half. But the good thing is you're already halfway there. Because I can promise you, as much as you're watching or listening to this interview right now, wherever you are in the world, today, someone didn't wake up. And in about 30 minutes, someone else will get diagnosed with prostate cancer. Someone else will get diagnosed with breast cancer. Someone else will have a heart attack. Someone else will find out they've lost a child. Someone else will learn today that their partner will never be coming home ever again. So when we think of all the things we haven't got, I promise you, you would not want to swap envelopes with the lives of so many other people. So take your envelope and know that when you open it up, what is inside is the key to the future that you want to have. The only decision is, have you got the courage to keep your envelope, to open it up and to live your best life? Or instead, do you want to put it under the cushion and say, in that envelope are all the things I couldn't do because no one was there to help me? It's just a choice.
I couldn't, absolutely great closure. I couldn't do it any better. The only thing which I can add is today we really encourage you to take the responsibility for your own life. And nothing is impossible. Everything starts from here. So today, not only can you take the responsibility of your own life, but you have the keys to change someone else's life. How? By sharing this video. Think of the friends that are stuck in their life. Think of the people that if they just would hear Anthony speaking and everything makes sense, and if they are really true to themselves and authentic and really see that he's so right. Right. And it takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of courage to really say that, yes, it's me. So take it. This is the best moment. We have put in our golden gauges everybody at home for a reason. So let your reason be the change that you needed in your life. And have it by just listening to this interview with Anthony. And I think Anthony made it so beautifully structured, clear, and loud. If you don't get this either, I don't know what needs to happen to you. I really hope that it's not something tragic that needs to really happen to you. in order to take action. Don't wait this bad news that you really see that, oh my God, there's absolutely no other option for me. Be in front of it. Take the action now. Would you like to say something to our audience before we finish the session?
Yeah, and here's a classic example. There's about 5 times there you called me Anthony, and Scott is my first name. Then it's Anthony. But this is the thing. We've all got so many things going on in our minds, right? It's really hard to think that we have what it takes inside to make the changes that we want to make. But I want you to understand the only reason we haven't made the changes we know we want to make is because we lack the courage to think that we can actually make it work. So we're not afraid of making the changes. We're afraid of making it. We're afraid of failing and not making it work and what other people will think. So we keep playing it safe. But here's the thing. Our kids are watching. What kind of life do we want for them? Like, we have these kids, and for those that don't have kids, you are a kid. You're just now older, but you've still got those memories, those child abuse memories perhaps, or the loss of loved ones and the joyous upbringing you had, or the one that wasn't so good. Those are your memories. Someone else has similar or completely different memories. But what do we do now? What we go and do next is completely up to us. Don't fear failing. Instead, fall in love with the idea that you don't have to get it right. You don't have to. You just have to say, what can I learn from this? If there's one thing that you can learn from this, it is this sentence: I believe in you. And if I was working with you, I could help you move to a better way of feeling than what you currently feel now. And it's just a series of processes. And when you go through the processes, you'll then go, I didn't know this was possible. I didn't know I could feel this way. I used to think it probably wouldn't work for me. Everyone goes through that. Anyone that has success in any area whatsoever, health, fitness, weight, relationships, business, income, jobs, it doesn't matter what it is. They didn't think they could do it either. And they just did that 1%. They just got up, stood up, and showed up and made a difference. So if you don't do anything else, I challenge you to do this. Rewatch this video and see what you missed by watching it the first time. Now, most people, 95% or 99% of people, will not rewatch this video because they've watched it. I don't need to. That's great. And they'll have a shitty life and be complaining about it. But imagine if you did rewatch this video. I won't know. Ragnar won't know. And it won't make a difference to us. But imagine if you watched it again and got some value that you did see the first time. Because at the beginning of this interview, you were here. And then by the time you get through the middle and to the end, you're now in a different mental state because you've learned new things. So you've already grown. You've already added more than 1% to your learning about how to think about things different. Now what happens if you go back and rewatch this interview, you're starting from a different starting point. You're starting from here. You're not starting from here. So instead of going from here to here again, you've already gone here. You're now moving to the next level because even though you may have heard some of the things, you'll start to hear them with a different, more developed set of ears. And when you listen to it a second time, you will pick up on things and you'll get more belief of what's possible. But 95 and 97% or 99% of people won't do it. So you don't have to reach out to me. You don't have to watch this again. You don't have to do anything. But imagine if you did, because 1 or 3 people, if there was 100 watching this, 1 or 3 people will do it, and they will accomplish things that they don't even know are possible, and it could be you. What you do next with the next 60 minutes is entirely up to you, and you will get the results.
Nothing works if you don't. So speed of implementation and take the action now. Thank you, Scott, I'm really sorry. For me, I don't know. I'm looking at you, and Anthony is just like you're Anthony for me. So from now on, I'm going to call you Anthony.
No, it's Scott. It's Scott. It's Scott. But that's the thing. Different things make us think of different things. And it's like, what are the triggers? So now that I've said that, now that trigger is like, oh, am I saying the right one? And the reason I shared that was not to embarrass you and say, you keep calling me my wrong name. It's to say, we all get things wrong. And in an earlier conversation, if you remember, I actually asked you, am I saying your name right? Because I don't want to say your name wrong. So it's so important to me to say it right, because our name is the most important word we ever hear. So when we have those pivot points, when we have those points to go, yeah, that's the date. Oh my God, she kept calling me Anthony, or I kept saying Reganugani rather than Ragne, right? And it's like those things. Oh, I don't want to say Reganugani again, because Reganugani is not right. It's Ragne. And if I get it right, that's progress. That is a 1% shift. That is a 1% benchmark. Whereas I could say, oh, I'm hopeless at remembering names. And it's like, that was me. Those were the exact words I used to say. I'm hopeless at remembering names. So now it's Ragne. And I remember the name because I remember the story. And I remember when you shared with me your story about who you are, where you live, what you went through, your grandmother, etc., and the whole Siberia, that story. And there's little Ragne, and it's like, wow, she is part of a legacy. So I don't forget the name. I may not say it with the right fluency, but I know who she is and who you are, because Ragne is not a name, it's a person. And when we start to dissect things down, I will never forget your story. And the impact that your grandmother, who I never met, is alive in you, that legacy, that love, that commitment, that connection. It's like, that was a privilege for me to be able to connect with you and have you share that story about your grandmother. And like, wow, that's a privilege. I'm grateful that you've passed that story down for generations, because now I'll sadly never meet your grandmother because she's moved on now. But what a legacy she created. She had Ragne in her life's legacy story. And I look at that as, I hope I am standing up, showing up enough to create that kind of story that my grandkids want to tell about me. Like, that's awesome. And if other people have that story about your grandmother who was making pancakes for 30 kids and there wasn't enough food for families, yet somehow she managed to create ingredients to make pancake mornings at was a Sunday, I think it was, that everyone would come round and your grandma would be there making pancakes for everyone. What stories do they have about Ragna's grandmother? She's the greatest. We go there every Sunday and have pancakes. Like, that's what we are creating. It's not a name. It's a story. I'm not good at names, really, to me, is like, and I got confronted by this with one of my coaches. And he said, what do you mean you're not very good at names? And I said, well, I'm just not. And he says, that's an excuse. And I go, well, no, it's not. I'm not. And I would justify why I was no good at names. And he smacked me in the face with a wet fish. And he says, because you don't care about their stories. And I'm like, oh, you see the name as a label rather than a person. And I'm like, oh, I just got hit again. And I'll never forget that lesson. And it changed everything. So, whew, goosebumps.
So you see, we learn every time. Did I learn today? Yes. Will I remember this moment forever? Yes. Will I remember his name forever? Yes. So we encourage you. We encourage you to take, like Scott was telling us, start your new book. Take the one that has the sheets which are blank.
Yeah.
Start your book. And you can do it. You can do it now. As soon as you finish up this video, stand up, find, if you don't have a book like this, find a piece of white paper and start from there. Thank you.
When I was broke, I wrote on the wall.
Well, afterwards you need to paint it. So, or maybe not. Maybe you want to be the next Picasso. Then yes.
I can assure you, I can assure you, I'm not a Picasso. But here's why I wrote on the wall: because it wasn't my home, and I knew I had to fix it. And so, rather than just putting excuses on the wall and blaming everyone else, I knew that if the landlord came along and saw what I had done, I'd be in trouble. So I wrote on the wall who I could become, what I could achieve, and how I choose to think. And it was there until I was no longer in that property, because every day it was a reminder who I could be, what I could do. And it wasn't about covering it up. It was about respecting the property that was someone else's, that I would make good again, and I would raise the funds and do whatever I had to move beyond that limiting belief, to paint over it and say, I don't need that anymore because I'm in control. So when we decide to take control, it's a good day. And if you think it's different, it's not like I still can't get this, put your hand on your chest and feel that heartbeat. Because at some point, it's going to be your last sunrise, your last sunset, your last breath of air, and your last heartbeat. We don't know when that is. But I promise you, if I was to sit down with you now and said, you've got 10 minutes of your life left, what would you do different? Pick up the pen, just as Ragnar says, and start writing the next chapters of your life. Because if you don't write them out, if you don't stay focused on them, that's why they won't come true. And that's your fault. And you don't want to show your kids that you have stopped learning. You want to show your kids this is just the beginning of the next beginning.
Beautiful. So we can now write the end. Thank you, Scott. Thank you for being with us today. Thank you for all the valuable, I cannot even call it information. I cannot even call it nuggets. This is the momentum, the life-changing momentum. Thank you for sharing your experience in that and how you took the responsibility of your life and make it so credibly real for us that we feel that, oh my God, like I want to do it. I want to do it now. Like, where do I start? So thank you for that. I absolutely love your energy. I absolutely loved every single word that came out of your mouth. Again, if you're watching this, then take action now. Be the hero in your life. Be the hero of someone else's life. Share this video with at least 5 of your friends. And then get back to us. Right? This happened since the day that I took the paper or I wrote the first lines in my book. We would love to know about that. So thank you very much for joining us. Thank you, Scott. Have an incredible day. It's a morning for you. It's evening for us. That's why this video is pre-recorded. And I think there's a lot of people who wish that would have been live because they could have asked you so many questions. But if you do have those questions and if you did pay attention, then you know where to find Scott. Thank you very much. I will see you in next episode, and be encouraged. Everything is possible. Thank you.
Absolutely.